Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Now, I'm finna do a quick video. Make sure you guys check out the page. I got a song on there today. I'm finna work on some music this week, get you guys some new music out, and I will do content. I am off this week, but I'm not going on vacation. Like, I'm on vacation technically, but I'm going to be giving you guys different stuff. I'm going to be resting, and I'm going to give y'all, videos when I can. Football's coming back, so we're going to get our Sundays going again, watching football together. Now, first of all, I want to say, give a prayer out to Detroit T. Detroit T is going through a lot. He just found out that he's diabetic, so y'all please pray for my brother. I checked on him today. He's doing well, but keep him in your prayers, man. Detroit T always is there for us as family, as people, and he's a big brother to look up to. He gives us a lot of wisdom. Also, please give a shout out to my other brother, Strictly. Strictly had a bad seizure, and he's been on medication to try to keep it down, but he's very scared right now. He's very nervous. Any day, he feels he could go, but we're not going to wish that or think that. So please pray for them. They have been great supporters of my page. My page would not be where it's at today without those two guys. They have done a lot. Strictly has always been there, even though I haven't contacted him a lot. But when I get a chance to, you guys pray for him. Now, sorry to start off kind of gloom, but it's you gotta keep people in your prayers now. So now, the 2023 summer of realignment surprisingly emerged as one of the most chaotic in recent memory. The Pac-12, as we know it, could be on the verge of collapsing after more than 100 years, and now its members are scattering in what has become the latest reshaping of college football. Now, following the Pac-12's last lackluster media rights presentation, Oregon and Washington opted to take partial shares to join the Big Ten. Soon afterwards, the remaining so-called Four Corners schools, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah, followed Colorado to the Big 12. Now, Oregon State, Washington State, California, and Stanford remain in a holding pattern as Pac-12 leadership attempts to learn what's next. Now, ultimately, all 6 members that left the conference, 8 including USC and UCLA, will make more money in their new homes. However, the consequences for every athletic department could be wide-ranging. Here are the winners and losers of the most recent round of realignment, perhaps the most destructive session yet. The winner is Colorado. The Buffaloes have quietly been one of the headiest programs in realignment over the last 15 years. When it looked like the Big 12 could go under in 2010, Colorado allied itself with the then safe ground of the Pac-12. Now Colorado ran back to its old friends in the Big 12 right before the foundation started crumbling in the Pac-12. Unlike every other team on this list, Colorado's move actually reunites it with a handful of historic rivals from the old Big 8. The Buffaloes had played Kansas 70 times and Iowa State 65 times and built rivalries with schools in Texas and Oklahoma during a stint in the Big 12. Perhaps most importantly, rejoining the Big 12 also allows Coach Deion Sanders to go down into Texas and recruit. Sanders spent nearly a decade coaching high school players in Texas after playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Creating a recruiting pipeline out of the Lone Star State appears to be a priority and could pay off for Coach Prime. Now, the losers are Oregon and Washington. It's saying the Ducks and Huskies have been among the most watched and successful athletic departments in the country over the past 30 years. Both programs earned the rightful place in one of the top conferences in college football. However, their arrival comes through the back door with a diminished share. Oregon has won a college football playoff game and played for national championships in 2010 and 2014, Washington has 4 top 15 finishes in the past 7 years, including an 11-2 season with an Alamo Bowl victory in 2022. Now, both programs will make substantially less money than Maryland and Northwestern to play in the same conference. To make matters worse, the Big Ten is a logistical nightmare for the newest West Coast editions. The nearest current Big Ten member is Nebraska, more than 1,600 miles away from both schools, while USC and UCLA provide a western wing of the conference. Even those schools are more than 800 miles away. At least USC and UCLA earn $75 million per year to make the nightmare trips. Oregon and Washington would be struggling on a budget. Frankly, these programs deserve better. Now, another winner. Those were the losers that they're saying, but I'm going to give my take after I'm done. The winner, Arizona football moves the levers of power in college athletics, but few schools can be happier, about the boon to their basketball programs than Arizona. The Wildcats ranked among the greatest college hoops programs of all time, and they are now set to join the unquestioned top basketball league in college athletics. Kansas and Baylor are responsible for 2 of the last 3 national championships in college basketball. Houston and Texas Tech have also each posted trips to the Final Four since 2019. 8 Big 12 schools finished top 30 in the Ken Palm in 2023, not even counting Arizona's edition. There's plenty to like on the football side, especially the ability to recruit Texas. However, Arizona is one of the true game-changing basketball programs in the nation, and it will be a fantastic fit in the Big 12. Now, losers, Utah. Life has been good for Utah over the past decades. Kyle Whittingham has built up one of the top programs in college football and comes off of back-to-back Pac-12 championships. Perhaps equally as important, Utah has left rival BYU in the dust since moving up and playing the best and brightest of West Coast college football programs. When Utah joined the Pac-12 in 2011, it represented a turning point against its rivals at BYU. The Cougars held a 29-20 advantage against the Utes when each were members of the WAC and Mountain West. But that flipped when Utah got a Pac-12 invitation. The Utes have won 8 of 9 against the Cougars since joining the Power 5 with 7 AP top 25 finishes in the past 9 years. Now, the 2 biggest Utah schools are set to become conference mates once again, and the balance of power in the state is up in the air. Granted, the Utes are still in great shape under Whittingham, one of the top coaches in the sport. However, BYU's elevation to the same conference as Utah has massive long-term implications for both programs as attempt to claw their way onto the national stage. Now, the winner is the Big 12 ultimately. 1 year ago, Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff took a jab. New Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark during his remarks at Pac-12 Media Day about the positioning of their 2 leagues. You look at the metrics, you look at the numbers, and any way you cut and slice and dice the numbers, you come to the conclusion that no Pac-12 school is going to the Big 12. Kliavkoff told The Athletic. Now, 1 year later, Yormark has completely outmaneuvered Kliavkoff and given his conference the future that the Pac-12 once thought a birthright. 4 Pac-12 programs ultimately decided to join the Big 12, giving the league a second life that few expected after Texas and Oklahoma opted to join the SEC. Now, the Big 12 has emerged as easily the best basketball league in college athletics and a highly competitive football group. With 16 teams, the league is highly stable heading into the future. For the 8 legacy schools left behind after Texas and OU's decision, the situation is better than they ever could have imagined. Now, loser is West Coast athletics. It's no secret that interest and participation in sports has been waning on the West Coast, especially in football. The last football team from the region to win a national championship was USC in 2004. The West Coast's last basketball title was Lute Olson's Arizona team in 1997. However, the collapse of the Pac-12 has far worse implications for West Coast athletics than just the revenue sports. Stanford has won the NCAA Directors Cup 26 times since it was created in 1994. California has 8 top 10 finishes, tied with Arizona for 12th all time. A number of non-revenue sport opportunities have been created because of the money paid out by being part of a major football league. There will be some level of outside funding available by wealthy donors, but will it be enough to make $30 million difference? On top of that, even at the well-funded schools like Oregon, UCLA, and USC, will the insane cost of flying cross-country for routine conference games be a major deterrent to fielding robust athletic departments? Now, the collapse of the Pac-12 feels like a canary in the coal mine for the total destruction of major investment in non-revenue sports on the West Coast. If that happens, the consequences will go infinitely further than simply football. Now, to be determined is Arizona State. The good is Arizona State found a safe haven and will have the opportunity to play power conference sports heading forward. The Territorial Cup will live on. Getting to play a national college football schedule could be a massive benefit for ASU's student acquisition. The university already boasts a massive student body and robust online education program. The bad is leadership was upfront that they did not want the Pac-12 to fold or to join the Big 12. The Sun Devils were essentially forced into this role by circumstance. Arizona State does not have an obvious identity as an athletic department within the Big 12 conference, especially as the Sun Devils search for their first AP Top 25 finish in either football or basketball since 2014. The money and opportunity to play in the Big 12 is enough to make the move, and Kenny Dillingham could be the perfect football coach to oversee it. Still, Arizona State athletics will have to do some soul searching as it leaves the West Coast for flyover country. Now, the loser is George Kliavkoff. When Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff was hired, many hoped that his experience as president of the entertainment and sports at MGM Resorts International would give him a unique ability to prepare for college athletics' modern age. Instead, it only set the stage for another entertainment executive, the Big 12's Brett Yormark, to run circles around the Pac-12. While amongst every factor that led to the death of the Pac-12 dates back to Kliavkoff's predecessor, Larry Scott, Kliavkoff failed to remedy any of the league's ills. He let the Big 12 jump the Pac-12 in line with ESPN and Fox, leading to limited windows available for the league to fill. Kliavkoff looked to streaming for a safety net but failed to deliver competitive numbers. On Judgment Day, Kliavkoff was unaware of Oregon and Washington's maneuvering behind the scenes, leaving him with empty hands as the pair ran off to the Big Ten on Friday. Now, a 108-year-old athletic association is essentially gone. Only 4 out of 12 members remain, meaning that any future league would hold almost zero DNA with the historic conference. Scott deserves the lion's shares of the blame, but Kliavkoff failed to remotely stop the bleeding when it became time to save the league. His tenure as a college sports administrator, will be defined by overseeing the collapse of the Pac-12. And I did this story a year ago, and I told everybody, even then, that Arizona and all these schools were basically looking to leave the Pac-12. The Pac-12, the problem is they're not great at marketing. Kliavkoff was saying, oh, nobody's going to leave. He walked around here, with the big attitude, thinking that everybody's going to fall in line. And no, now you have a new day in college, the NIL deals. That means players could jump school in the portal. They don't have to wait a year no more. They could go to this school, go to that school. And these players are going to go to the highest bidder, not only the highest bidder, they're going to go to where they get the most marketing, which is who's paying the most and who's getting more TV runs. Big 12 gets more TV play than the Pac-12. It's just facts. Now, can the Pac-12 recover? Probably not in a year, but everything seems like it's going to start going towards Big 12, SEC, Big 10. These guys are trying to stay competitive. The SEC is running it right now. After they got Texas and Oklahoma, and who knows, they could get Florida State and Miami. Or Clemson. If Florida State, Miami, or Clemson, those three, look out for those 3 schools, because those 3 schools If one of them goes to the SEC or to the Big 12, because I'm hearing Florida State and Miami could go to the Big 12. If they go to the Big 12, it's going to be Big 12 versus SEC. And the Big 10, they're just doing everything they can to hold their division together, their conference together. But as long as they got Ohio State still and Michigan, that should keep them afloat. But those are your three major conferences now. It's the Big 10, Big 12, and SEC. The Pac-12, they got too cocky. They got too arrogant. They thought nobody could leave. They thought nobody would leave, which is straight ludicrous. If you thought in your heart of hearts and your mind that nobody could come and swoop in and take a big-time school, offer them a big-time television deal, and get paid, you are out your goddamn mind. And they are out their mind with this one. And Kleopkov gets what he deserves. He continuously ran around thinking everything was all cool, everything was all roses and whatever you call it, peaches and cream and all that. But guess what? It blew up in his face, and that's what he gets. And this is what happens when you think that somebody can't just come underneath you or behind doors and get you. I put the video out and said Arizona and Arizona State are going to the Big 12. And I said a lot of teams are going to start leaving the Pac-12. And it's not just because it's not that the Pac-12 is something bad with it. They don't get a lot of marketing dollars and nobody really watches them. Everybody watches Southern football, SEC, Big 12, and then they watch Big 10 because Big 10, Big 12, and SEC are historical conferences. They are. So with this happening, to me, the winners are the teams who went away. Now, the only loss, in my opinion, is that people have to travel further. Like Oregon and them, I have to travel all the way to Ohio State, but who cares? To me, I like that better because it'll get these kids who want to go to the next level. It'll get them accustomed to playing in the NFL. Because in NFL, shoot, you might travel here from Washington to New York to play the Jets or the Giants. Or you might play one this week and then the next week you'll play them again. The way they set up your schedule. So, I think it's very neat. I think it's cool. But in my opinion, the Pac-12 took a big loss. When you lost Oregon and you lost USC, because USC and them went to the Big 10. So the Big 10, Big 12, and SEC is going to be a 3-conference race. And, the Pac-12, I didn't want to see this happen because I love the Pac-12, especially as a kid growing up, watching Troy Aikman, watching all these Deshaun Jackson, watching all these historical players in the Pac-12. Pac-12 has some great battles, but this is going to hurt them. Now, do I see teams from the Mountain West joining? I could see that a lot of these conferences are going to dissipate and become one with other conferences because they're not going to have enough money to keep those schools. And not only that, they're not getting a lot of funding or they're not getting looked at a lot on TV. So, but you guys let me know what you think. To me, I think it was a great move. Colorado and the others went to the Big 12, which was smart. And then you got the other ones going to the Big 10. So the Big 10 and Big 12 really stepped up today. That was good. You got Arizona State, Utah. They followed Colorado to Big 12. And then Oregon State, Washington State, California, and Stanford, they're staying in the Pac-12. Oregon and Washington, they're going to the Big 10, which is good for them. The only thing that's going to hurt them is the traveling. But Deion Sanders, look what Coach Prime doing. Coach Prime ain't even been there, hasn't even started the season. Look at the impact that he's putting on college football. And I kept telling everybody who was a Florida State fan, they are going to regret not getting Coach Prime. Coach Prime is going to change the landscape of how you coach and how you recruit. Now, do I see him potentially going to the NFL one of these days? Shoot, if they pay him the right amount of money. If they pay him, if they pay Coach Prime a big time check, which I could see them doing on the level of the players and what they're getting paid, oh, Coach Prime going to the league. I'm telling you now. So we'll see, man. But thank y'all for listening. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this. Hit that notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if y'all do love what you hear, you can donate to the page by going to the description box, hitting that link to my Cash App to donate whatever your heart's desire. You guys can also type in that number in my description box that goes to my Zelle account. You guys can do that. You guys can also super chat when the videos premiere or live. And you guys can also leave a super thanks. So thank you guys for your love and blessings. We are out. Deezy. And death to the Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10. They done made moves to compete with the SEC. We'll see how the season go. I'm out. Deezy.